Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Wacky and Weird Wednesday. We're gonna find those weird stories out there that make you question, is that real? Is that what's really happening out there? So let's go ahead and get into our headlines as we start our Wacky Wednesday. Today on Before Coffee, girls have worse mental health than boys in Europe, WHO says.
In other news, there's swans in Florida that are older than me getting a physical. And U.S. Customs, another weird news, U.S. Customs sees some giraffe feces.
How are Swedish gangs using music platform Spotify to launder money?
And it's Wednesday's turn of the wheel of squeal, the squeal of fortune today.
Knowing your Kazo from your Pannenkoek. What are the best European insults?
Those stories and more on today, which is Take Your Teddy Bear to Work Day, which is October 11th, 2023 edition of Before Coffee.
All right, today on, let's start our wacky news. I don't know if it's wacky, it's weird news, I guess. This is a article on Euronews Next. Girls in 44 countries in Europe and Central Asia scored lower on mental health well-being, said the World Health Organization, WHO, on World Mental Health Day. Adolescent girls score lower on life satisfaction and mental well-being and higher on loneliness than boys, according to a new survey from a regional office of the World Health Organization in Europe. The report is based on data from nearly 280,000 boys, girls aged 11, 13, and 15 years old from 44 countries in Europe and Central Asia. The WHO said the gaps are worse with older teenagers. A 15-year-old girl shows the worst outcomes. I can believe it. I felt awful at 15. But I'm not even European, so I don't know. It's probably different for Americans. Around a quarter of 15-year-old girls say they felt lonely most of the time or always in the last year, compared with 1 in 7 boys the survey showed. The findings were released on World Mental Health Day, which aims to raise awareness about mental health issues globally. The challenges faced by young people today are diverse and demanding, ranging from the climate crisis to academic pressures and social expectations to pervasive influence of social media, said Dr. Hans Kluge, who is regional director of Europe. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that they have support and resources they need to navigate these challenges successfully. Teenagers' mental health is in a decline. Adolescents' mental health has been in a decline since 2018, WHO said, with a rise in health complaints since 2014. According to the survey, around 29% of adolescents reported sleep difficulties and 25% reported feeling low. Some 20% reported frequent headaches. Public Health France also said on Monday that mental health for adolescents and young adults aged 11 to 24 continues to deteriorate. Around 20.8% of young adults aged 18 to 24 in France struggled with depression in 2021 compared to the 11.7% in 2017. The United States Children's Fund, UNICEF, reported in 2021 that suicide was the second leading cause of death among young people in Europe, with the 3 adolescent lives lost every day due to mental health issues. WHO said last year that the global prevalence of anxiety and depression increased by a quarter in the first year of COVID-19 pandemic, with countries now including mental health in coronavirus response plans. Yeah, people who are already feeling lonely, being forced to stay inside and not go to school, no wonder they were also feeling even more lonelier than normal. Studies have also shown that social media, which a majority of young people use, can both have positive and negative impacts on mental health, with some studies linking it to increased symptoms of depression and anxiety. But it also opens people to community, right? So there's a lot of people whose only friends are on the internet. So you can't just say, stop going on the internet. Joe Inchley, the international coordinator of WHO Health Behavior of School-Aged Children Studies, said in a statement that the survey data highlights the importance of providing caring and supportive environments in which adolescents can thrive. And this is exactly something that Robert volunteers for. He volunteers for like a youth outreach program. so that kids have somewhere to go and hang out that isn't their house, because maybe they're getting abused or they just don't like being home because it's lonely.
Right.
And they can go hang out with their fellow kids in a place that's also being watched by adults, so that they're not, I don't know, doing heroin. I have no idea. But these programs are really important. And there's your short story on how girls are depressed, boys are depressed, everyone is depressed.
How I feel like an 11-year-old girl.
Yep.
Totally out of place. That's me. Or whatever age of awkwardness you want to place on it. I never get over it. Thank you very much. All right. Today's weird news stories, we have two of them because they're short. Swans in Florida that date the Queen Elizabeth II gift are rounded up for their animal physicals. And this is from Associated Press. Lakeland, Florida. Nobody wanted to put their name on this one. Okay, cool. Associated Press, Lakeland, Florida, held its 43rd annual Swan Roundup on Tuesday. The swans that were initially a gift from Queen Elizabeth II and now thrive in Lake Morton will be given wellness exams through a local animal hospital. A flock of swans that grew from a gift nearly 70 years ago from Queen Elizabeth has been rounded up in Florida and ensured they are all healthy. On Tuesday, there were 50 swans collected in Lakeland, which is east of Tampa. Park Supervisor Steve Williams said the birds are cherished, part of the city. I mean, they are a city icon. They are. We take very good care of them. The roundup each year enables the veterinarians to conduct the health examinations of the city-owned swans, with these scheduled for Wednesday morning. Lakeland swans are descended from a pair of mute swans given by the late Queen Elizabeth II in 1957. The goal is to keep them all in good shape. Tomorrow we'll be taking all these swans one by one and giving them each a physical exam, weighing them, checking for any infections, any wounds, any problems, and that would need to be addressed. The city has conducted the annual wellness checkups since 1980. So making sure your old vintage swans are taken care of in Florida. Another weird news, also from the Associated Press, also with nobody claiming credit for the story. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, federal customs agents poo-pooed the plans of an Iowa woman who wanted to make jewelry from giraffe feces she picked up on a trip to Kenya and brought back to the U.S. in her luggage. The woman declared the small box of feces, which she was selected to have her belongings expected upon arriving at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport on September 29th. I went through Minneapolis Airport on September 19th. Didn't run into feces, lady. I was 10 days too early. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the woman, who is not identified, told officials she planned to use the waste to make a necklace, as she had done in the past with moose poop. Giraffe poop can be brought back to the U.S. with the proper permits and inspections, according to the Minnesota Public Radio. The station reported that the woman won't face sanctions because she declared the feces and gave it to customs. So don't hide your shit. The agency agriculture specialist destroyed the giraffe poop. Destroyed the giraffe poop.
Oh,
Perfectly good giraffe poop. Wow, gone to an early grave. There is a real danger with bringing fecal matter into the U.S., Customs and Border Protection Chicago Field Director LaFonda D. Suttenberg said in a statement. If my name was LaFonda D. Suttenberg, I'd be making statements every day. If this person had entered the U.S. and had not declared these statements, there's a high possibility a person could have contracted a disease from this jewelry and developed a serious health issue. African swine fever, classical swine fever, Newcastle disease, foot and mouth disease, and swine vesicular disease are among the ailments in Kenya that customs cited as risks. And let me tell you, Newcastle disease is no joke. That's it. That's the story. Time to spin the wheel of fortune.
Newcastle disease.
Yeah, Newcastle disease is no joke. I don't know what it is, but it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I'll
pass.
You grow Newcastle.
Thank you.
You grow Newcastle on the side of your head.
Okay.
Looks like a castle.
In our
Okay,
short,
Squeal of Fortune time. Squeal of Fortune time.
weird, wacky news, Swedish gangs are using Spotify to launder money. This is from Eleanor Butler with AFP. Criminals in Sweden are using cryptocurrency to pay for Spotify streams and clean their dirty money. 4 gang members in Stockholm, as well as an anonymous police investigator, spoke to Swedish paper Svenska Dagbladet about hiding money trails linked to violent crimes. Income earned through drug deals, contract killings, and robberies being concealed through artificial streaming agreements. Criminals first pay musicians through a cryptocurrency transaction, which is more difficult to trace than traditional payment. The artist will then be paid for streaming their song, and the criminal can collect the cleaned money. Spotify has become a bank machine for the gangs, the investigator quoted an SVD's report told the paper. The music platform nonetheless assured AFP that less than 1% of all streams on Spotify have been determined to be artificial, adding that any manipulated figures are promptly mitigated prior to any payouts. According to SVD, a million streams generates about 40,000 to 60,000 krona in Sweden, which is approximately 3,450 to 5,180 euros. That's still a lot of money. That is artificial. Oh no, that's how many streams? A million streams, sorry. So they have to pay a lot of streams, a million streams, to get that much money, if that's what they are laundering. Spotify's royalty system is recently being criticized for allowing users to cheat the system rather than channeling revenue towards real artists. JP Morgan executives estimated that 10% of all streams on the platform are generated by automated listeners, and that Spotify subscribers could make $1,200 or 1,140 euros a month by listening to their own song on repeat. Sounds like a great plan. The theory was first reported in the Financial Times last month, but Spotify CEO Daniel Ek has since rejected these claims. According to JP Morgan, if someone uploaded their own 30-second track to Spotify and then programmed their phone to listen to it on repeat for 24 hours a day, they would receive $1,200 a month in royalties. If that were true, my own playlist would just be Daniel's 30-second jam on repeat, but seriously, that's not quite how our royalty system works. Spotify's website says, contrary to what you might have heard, Spotify does not pay artists royalties according to a per play or per stream rate. The royalty payments that artists receive might vary according to differences in how their music is streamed or the agreements they have with their label or distributors. Yeah, I think there's rules against playlists, different rules for playlists, different rules for like Discover, like if you find the artist on Discover, or if you specifically go and click the artist to listen to them, totally different. They've got a whole algorithm going on how you're getting paid on Spotify, depending on what system you're using to even listen. I know about this because whenever ARMY streams for BTS to try to get them on the charts, right? There's several different ways that they do it, right? They put the song in a playlist where it repeats every 5 songs, the same song again, so that it can get charted, or they will, ask you to watch the video and then listen to the song and then watch the video. A bunch of different systems in order to get around these algorithms who are trying to make it harder for artists to make money, I guess. Oh, they're tricking us to pay them. Oh, who cares? They're making pennies to begin with.
Do the artists even make the money? I don't think they do. I think the companies make it.
In the comments, somebody has said, do not call them Swedish. They are not Swedish. There's criminals in every country, in every ethnicity. It's not just the brown people, dude. Anyways, enough distractions. There's a short little weird story about people using Spotify to get more money from their dirty deals.
Okay, so next story, we have to spin the Squeal of Fortune. All right, don't have a story.
I'll spin it now.
I gotta spin it now and give me a minute. Maybe sing a song or something. Play some folk music.
Time to spin the Squeal of Fortune.
It's a Squeal of Fortune. Oh yeah.
Spinning time.
I don't have a theme song.
We have landed on Walt Nauta.
Walt Nauta, name I've heard. So Let's sing the hold music. Nauta, right?
Nauta.
All right, let's see what we got for him. Has he done anything newsworthy? Not since June. Oh.
But if you haven't talked about it, you haven't talked about it.
But Lord, these are all old stories. Is there anything new about this guy? We know who he is. He's Trump's personal bodyguard. Okay. So let's do Walt Nauta, who's one of these guys that's going to be handing defendant J. Trump the soap. Okay, and this is from PBS NewsHour. They did a news story on it. Let's see how long it is. Who is Walt Nauta? This is all the way back from June. So he's been keeping a low profile, or nobody's interested in him. That's June. Excuse me. All right. Who is Walt Nauta? When former President defendant J. Trump appears in federal court on Tuesday, now believe me, he's going to be in federal court for a long time. So he will be joined at the defense table. This is the federal court for the hiding of documents. He will be joined at the defense table by a man well practicing and standing by his side, his valet turned alleged co-conspirator Walt Nauta. Nauta, Navy veteran who fetched the Trump's Diet Cokes as his valet in the White House before joining him as a personal aide at Mar-a-Lago, now finds himself in legal jeopardy alongside the former president. He's accused of moving boxes from the White House at Trump's direction and lying about the investigators. Nauta is the latest in a series of Trump loyalists to face potential jail time after his work with former President Michael Cohen. Trump's longtime fixer and attorney spent more than 13 months in prison over payouts to help arrange during the 2016 presidential race to keep women from going public about alleged sexual encounters with Trump. Alan Weisselberg, the former chief financial officer at the Trump Organization, just finished serving 3 months in Rikers Island after pleading guilty to receiving $1.7 million unreported in job perks. We haven't put Weisselberg on the wheel, have we? Loyalty to Donald Trump is like First Avenue in Manhattan. One way. History has shown time and again that Donald cares for no one other than himself, said Cohen, who has since turned on Trump and eventually tried to win leniency by cooperating with prosecutors. Former President Donald Trump and his aide Walt Nauta arrived. Well, that's a picture thing. Okay. Nauta, according to the indictment unsealed Friday, which is a Friday back in June, was charged with 37 counts of illegally hoarding classified documents and obstruction in the government's effort to get them back. Let me clue you in there, old Walt. 37 counts of illegally hoarding classified documents. That's serious. You're going to go to prison for that, for protecting Trump. All right. Good job, dude. I hope you have good cell. The government alleges Nauta helped pack Trump's boxes before he left the White House and repeatedly moved into various rooms at the Mar-a-Lago in response to defendant J. Trump's requests. At one point, the indictment alleges Nauta discovered several boxes had fallen over in the storage room, dumping their contents on the floor. Nauta snapped and shared photographs of the scene, which included a document visible marking warning was restricted to only Five Eyes intelligence alliance of U.S., UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. I don't think Walt Nauta's eyes are on that list. Nauta was key to Trump's investigation early on, which FBI agents grilling him about the movement of boxes inside Mar-a-Lago weeks before serving their search warrant on the property. Like other witnesses close to Trump, though, his answers to law enforcement put him in legal jeopardy. In other words, he lied to cover for Trump. Oh, that's gonna keep you out of jail. Although prosecutors say Nauta moved boxes of documents to Trump's residence for his review at his direction, he lied to agents by saying he wasn't aware of that happening, according to the indictment. And when agents asked if he knew where on the property the boxes have been stored, he said, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I honestly just don't know.
I can't even find my shoes.
Yeah, no, checks in the mail. Yeah. Nauta's attorney, Daniel Lee Woodward declined to answer questions about the charges or any efforts to get his client to turn on the former president, but confirmed the two would appear together. A photo published by the Justice Department in the charging document against former Trump shows a box of documents, including one classified document, spilled on the floor in the stateroom at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida in early 21. The Justice Department said they redacted the image, which was reportedly taken by Trump's fellow defendant and employee Walt Nauta to obscure the secret information that was visible in the image. Nauta faces 6 federal charges, including conspiracy to obstruct justice, conspiracy to obstruct justice, corruptly concealing a document or record, making false statements. His inclusion on the indictment was met by protests from defendant Trump, who praised Nauta as a wonderful man who had done a fantastic job. He does exactly what I told him to do at all times. They are trying to destroy his life. No, they're not. Not really. Ty Cobb, the former White House attorney who served as Trump's lawyer during the Russia investigation, said he felt sorry for Nauta, who is described as a dutiful worker who nods and does what he's been told to do. I think Walt is easy prey for defendant Trump because this is a dedicated patriot. Bullshit. The proudest moment he ever had was being named valet to the president, and sadly, the president got named valet. Sadly, the president he got named valet for was called Trumpy. Cobb recalled Nauta stopping by his home, checking in on him, and fetching him club soda when he was working late. He said he remembers how Nauta noticed after dozens of uneaten hamburgers that Cobb didn't eat meat and quietly began substituting salmon for his lunches. Wow. Yeah, you're not eating them hamburgers. Why don't you just tell him you don't eat meat, dude? Yeah. I think it's really sad that people were not able to convince him of his misplaced loyalty. I think it's sad that this guy's a lawyer, actually. He should be a witness. He shouldn't be a defendant, but you can only dangle that opportunity for so long before you have to shoot. So I think it's tragic. John Dean, the White House counsel who testified against former President Richard Nixon over Watergate, later served 4 months for obstructing justice, said he would advise Nauta to turn against Trump. So there's your little primer on Walt Nauta and the trouble he's got himself in for being an errand boy. Your story.
Okay, well, it's time for us to cover insults. That's right. What are the most, and well, not most popular and the best European insults in your more wacky news here on Wednesday? This is by David Morquand, who made our terrible list of, well, not terrible, very limited list of best, what was it, concert documentaries. It's the same guy again, but hopefully his list of insults is a bit better. Warning! This article contains profanity and language that some people may find offensive, but we're just educating you on insults, okay? We're not insulting you. Last Sunday was National Insult Day. Yes, we know we're a few days late, but with kindness, as the French would say, allez-vous faire faute. We're making a week of it. In the spirit of embracing the joys of humorous insults and the wealth of language on this fair continent of ours, join us as we take a short, non-exhaustive, and foul-mouthed trip around mainland Europe to treat you to some of the most colorful jibes that will make you sound like a local or get you in trouble. Be warned, some of these are not safe for work, and please care to treat others with kindness and not insult their ancestors. The goal of National Insult Day, week, is not to be mean-spirited or hurt anyone, but to appreciate the varied ways we spout abuse and trade barbs.
Flavors take too long.
Germany! German insults are brilliant, mostly due to the fact that they love a good compound word. Many common insults revolve around cars and road rules, including Sonntagsfahrer, a Sunday driver, revealing that Germans' hatred for those who don't act accordingly and drive slow in their beloved Autobahn, or Skattenparker, someone who parks in the shade. While this practice seems immensely sensible and doesn't appear to be an insult, you're apparently a coward if you hide from the sun and fear getting in your kiln/car. Go figure, you bloody coward. 2 favorites when it comes to compound word insults are I can't say that. I know how to say it in Dutch. Literally, a face that invites a slap. Okay? With backpijf, meaning a slap across the cheek, and geskikt, meaning face. Arskija, literally an arse violin, referring to someone who can't perform a particular task very well. We'll warn you that no goodwill will come of trying to string the particular instrument should you decide to introduce it to your posterior, in case you were wondering. The winner, though, is deep breath, Teletubby Zurickwinker, meaning one who waves back at the Teletubbies. Mouthful though it may be, you do well to introduce this one into your vocabulary if you're referring to someone you deem who isn't too bright or is weak. Plus, it's fun to picture someone, besides kids naturally, waving back at the screen and giving Tinky Wiggy, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe a genuine greeting. Hey! France. I love the French language. It's a delightful language, especially to curse with. It's like wiping your ass with silk. I suppose I can't speak French. You can thank Oscar Wilde for that one, who knew a thing or two about the riches of French when it comes to fantastic insult. A common trend goes back to food, mais bien sûr, with several foodstuffs utilized to put someone down. Andouille, an intestine sausage, is a good one to call someone a moron. Boudin is a blood sausage, but when you use it as insult, refers to an ugly woman. And originally, a prostitute, vas te faire cuire à ouf, go cook an egg, is useful if you want someone to stop bothering you. Occupe-tu de tus oignons? Deal with your own onions, is the French equivalent of telling one to mind their own business. Sale thon, dirty tuna, is a less than flattering expression for someone considered ugly. You're a dirty tuna. Tu as le que d'un hâte, you can have an IQ of an oyster. And who could forget tes un cool dans le potage? You're a bollock in the soup. Bon appetit. Your balls in soup. You're a ball in soup. Yeah. Bollocks, from the British word for balls. However, after much consultation with some of my French colleagues, there's one heartless insult that would destroy your sparring partner, which has nothing to do with food, and anything to do with mothers. Ta mère will get you in trouble. But ta été baissé trop près de mur, you were rocked too close to the wall, will shut anyone up. As a cheeky bonus, there's another superb feminist insult that is doing the rounds at the moment and has been registered as a trademark by activists. Bois mes règles. Literally, drink my period. Genius. Spain. A general trend you'll observe with Spanish swearing is the proclivity to mention excrement. Put simply, an angry Spanish person will want to shit in or on a lot of things. Me cago en will fill the gap with either your mom, the number 10, of course, you, and your head. A favorite here is me cago en la leche que mamaste, which literally translates to I shit in your milk that you sucked. Wow, that's specific. With insults like this won't get you invited back for breakfast, there are others that will go down well in a dinner table, or as they are like the French, food related. Que te vole un pez, get fucked by a fish. Que te la pique un pollo, I hope a chicken pecks at your dick. Eres tan fea que hiciste llorar a una cebolla. You're so ugly you made an onion cry. And my personal favorite, estás más perdido que un pulpo en un garage. You're as lost as an octopus in a garage, referring to someone who thinks they know what they're talking about, but in reality, they don't have a clue. Our favorite, however, combines both the Spanish penchant for scatological, that's great, in their swearing, as well as delicious food stuff. Chupe mantequilla de mi culo, which literally translates to suck butter from my ass. No elaboration needed. Suck butter from my ass. That's that's not just like lick my, that's a specific action. Okay. In Germany, As Germany has wordling, France has silk, and Spain has excrement, then Italy has the verve. It's a genuine joy hearing Italian swearing, which runs the gamut of outright blasphemy to passionate exclamations. There are so many that are hard to choose. Some common stanzas include "Che cavallo vuoi?" What the cabbage do you want? Which is a mild way of insulting someone without using the word fuck. Stronzo, turd, used in a playful way to denote an arsehole in your midst. And caso, which comes from the Latin capitium, which means little head, referring to the male genitalia, used to express your anger or calling someone a dickhead. But with the verve and passion comes creativity, and brace yourself for these next two. Bodeo de tuma, cana ladare, riconosca dai fascists. You thieving dog, mother's guts, ran after by fascists. Maybe that's what that lady was saying on the train. That's what remember in France? Somebody said something like this, so I think that's what she said. A very popular insult, supposedly, so. Ouch! And there's Cagiti mano e pediti a scaifi. An invitation to shit in your hand and slap yourself repeatedly. I'm gonna shit in your hand and slap you in the face with it. Belgium. If you're either speaking French or Flemish, you're bound to have some lovely crossovers and a few gems in your insult arsenal. Here goes. Vice wife. A woman who sells fish. An insult often used to describe a loud woman who frequently gossips or a man who needs an Italian shit slap. There's also the taut, slightly Latin sounding snot nose, literally snot noses, used to detonate an annoying pipsqueak. But the prize goes to Miran Nuker, which means an ant fucker, in reference to someone who is annoyingly obsessed with details. It is equivalent to the Finnish pikkunussiaja, which literally translate as comma fucker, a pedantic nitpicker of the highest order. Spare a thought for those poor Belgian ants, though. The Netherlands! Aha, the words I can 100% pronounce correctly. And watch me still mess it up. While a great many insults in the UK, for instance, tend to revolve around sex, Dutch insults mainly focus on disease and calling someone disease-ridden. Seriously, it's everywhere, and some are nasty and borderline misguided. Usually add kanker, which is cancer, to other words to form a new damaging combination. To give you a taste, kankerlier, cancer sufferer, kankerrop, cancer monkey, kankerlekker, tasty cancer, don't ask, kankerhoer, cancer whore, and the worst of the bunch. There's also a branch out to diseases with tering, tuberculosis, chlera, cholera, and typhoid, which can be added to words to make them likes of typhus let, typhoidal sexual liberated woman, crike de clear, get cholera, crike the pest, get the plague. While these can put into question whether the Dutch know what an insult is, there are some good ones in there, especially pannenkoek, which means pancake. Bit mild, especially after an ailment chat, but when said with the proper inflection and a patronizing tap on the head, it's a damning way of calling someone a simpleton. And it's a lot of fun to say. Pannenkoek. I say that because I love pancakes. Norway. We move further north with Norway's love of feign. It is the cornerstone of Norwegian insult, similar to the English fuck. It also refers to hell and works in the most scenarios. Five feign, fucking hell. Jav feign, what the fuck? Feign to death. Devil take you! Devil take you! Derg gear feign idet. I don't give a fuck. The list is endless. Elsewhere, two trends appear. Complimenting hell is the frequent use of Satan, used as an exclamation or the emphasis on a point. It's a tendency for Norwegians to use animals in their profanity. Favorites here including Verbannen hestekuk, which means fucking horse dick, and Pikantelope oak Fragant rave, which literally means dick, antelope, and square ass. What it really means is beyond us. Iceland. Oh, I'm getting like, okay, this is the last one, and I definitely don't know how to pronounce Icelandic. As much as we love to spend more time in Scandinavian territories, we are off to Iceland for our final pit stop. Yes, it's no part of mainland of Europe, as we're cheating here, but it's such a lovely place with lovely insults that should be made aware of. From an Anglophone perspective, a lot of a lot seem quite mild, but there are, I assure you, some offensive and extreme. Helvetis halfiti is called someone a half-foot, and Helvetis aumingi seems to hit hard as blood weakling, especially in a nation which values physical strength. You're a bloody weakling. You also find plenty of religious undertones, Skratanin, Satan, Ansananis Adi, Devil's Demon, and Manfinadi, Man Devil. Then there's the solid Druluk Sokur, which means toilet plunger. The direct and to the point Afatorari, which means away from the French obsession with mothers and translates to grandfather fucker. And other favorites, Hiland Brenadu, the equivalent of saying screw you, which literally translates to may you burn from your own urine. Yikes. So there you go. There's your wacky insults that you may use or may not use with your fellow compatriots there, depending on what other country you go to. And let's go to this day in history.
My good American insults are like, go home, your mom dresses you funny. Or, is that your face, or did your neck throw up? Or man, she's so ugly, it'd make a train take a dirt road. Good Lord, some poor tree labored its entire life to produce oxygen just so you can waste it. You know, stuff like that. This day in history, 1531, Protestant troops under George Goldie were defeated by Roman Catholic troops at the Battle of Kappel during the Swiss Reformation. In 1890, the Daughters of the American Revolution was organized. Really? Like 100 years after the American Revolution? Most of the daughters were dead, weren't they? 1899, two African Boer Wars began, and the South African Boer War began between Great Britain and the two Afrikaner republics, the South African Republic and the Orange Free State. In 1944, the film noir classic Laura, starring Gene Tierney and Dana Andrews, premiered in New York City. In 1958, the unmanned U.S. deep space probe Pioneer 1 was launched into lunar orbit. We figured out how to get things out of U.S. orbit and into orbit around the moon. Big accomplishment. Of course, we faked the moon landing, right? But in 1958, we already had a probe around the moon. Okay. That's all for the idiots that think we faked the moon landing. There's lots of them out there. Just complete idiots. 1971, British musician John Lennon's Imagine was released as a single, an iconic song of hope and peace. It is arguably the best-known work of his solo career. 1974, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission was established by President Gerald R. Ford to oversee the civilian use of nuclear materials in the United States. 1975, the TV sketch comedy and variety show Saturday Night Live debuted on NBC and became a landmark of American television. So Saturday Night Live is now 48 years old. In 1984, American astronaut Catherine with a Y Sullivan became the first woman to walk in space. 1991, during the confirmation hearings of Clarence Thomas, who had been nominated to the Supreme Court, American lawyer Anita Hill testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee and accused him of sexual harassment. Her allegations polarized Americans, and Thomas narrowly confirmed 52-48. Big mistake. 2000, in a ceremony in London, the International Women of the Year Association awarded the greatest woman achiever of the century to Russian cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman in space. In 2002, the U.S. Congress passed a bill by a wide margin granting U.S. President George W. Bush broad authority to use force against Iraq. Another big mistake. So today is a day of big mistakes.
Idiot mistake.
Our featured event is 1962. Opening of the Second Vatican Council. That's right, on this day, the Second Vatican Council, announced by Pope John the 23rd in 1959, opened this day in 1962, lasted for 3 years, and remains a symbol of the Church's readiness to adopt a modern life. So there you go. The year of my birth coincides with modern life. I knew I was here for some reason. Eleanor Roosevelt was born on this day on October 11th, 1884, and died November 7th, 1962, age 78. It's also the birthday of Steve Young, American football player. Dawn French is a Welsh actress, was born in 1957. Steve Young, born in 61. Indian actor Amitabh Bachchan was born in 1942. Bobby Charlton, British footballer and player and manager, was born in 1937. In 1925 was the birthday of Elmore Leonard, American author of cheap pulp fiction, as they called it. Elmore Leonard, 98th birthday. What day is it today? Do you want to know? We all do, right? Yes, so October. Whoop, I got on the wrong day. And I actually got the wrong day when I did what's today? Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said National Teddy Bear to Work Day. Definitely is not that. So.
Uh-oh.
It is, though. It is National Sausage Pizza Day, October 11th. It is National Coming Out Day. So if you're gay and you're in the closet, today's the day to surprise your parents and or husband/wife. National Fossil Day is today. So if you're an old fossil, it's time to come out too. National Take Your Parents to Lunch Day. Hey. All right, I got nobody to take me to lunch.
Really
well, not
to
here.
Lunch. Yeah, you could ask
nobody
somebody.
local would take me to lunch here. It's International Day of the Girl Child also. So you're a girl child, take your parents to lunch, and if you're a parent, take your girl child to lunch. There you go. And it's National Curves Day, which celebrates only women. Wait, there's a guy in here too. Okay, there's two guys with curves. All right. I hate it when they say, "Oh, plus sizes," and they show a bunch of women. And I'm like, what about plus size men? Are we just not humans? I don't get it. You know, that's it. That's all the days for today.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to have a digital lunch or something. Take you to lunch.
Get a lunch. I would eat my digits. I
Oh,
eat all my
right.
digits. I
It's
can't play
Sleepy Alley
baseball
here.
anymore. What?
My neighbor's still drilling holes into the wall or whatever the hell they're doing. So
Look
we
out for
haven't
Jack
been
of
sleeping
Hearts.
very well for 3 days, but hopefully they'll be finished by the end of the week. Along with our news, tomorrow is Thursday. We're gonna cover our grittiest news tomorrow. Probably not. Thursday's always random what news is happening. We'll see you then. Have a good one.
Cabaret was quiet except for the drilling in the wall. That's what you're saying?
Yeah,
That's from a Bob Dylan song.
exactly.
Lily Rose married a Jack of Hearts. So they're robbing a bank. They're probably robbing a bank. Is there a bank around here? It's October 11th, 2023 edition of Before Coffee, where we beg you to like and subscribe because we have to hire new writing staff because we need writers. And our old writers are scabs and we had to let them go. So it's yours. This is Roger, United States, for the comprehensive news of planet Earth. Before Coffee, October 22nd, 2023 edition of Before Coffee, which I said 4 times now. Before Coffee!
Maybe we do need a new writer. All right, see ya.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.